Hello, I'm Dr. Cyndi Burnett, Creativity and Education Specialist.
And I'm Barney Saltzberg, children's book author, illustrator, and songwriter.
So it is the day after World Creativity and Innovation Week. And I feel a little sad, Barney, that the week is over, but we had a great week, didn't we?
It was amazing. It was actually amazing. I look forward to every morning and what the challenges were going to be. I thought it was just great.
So Barney, after this week, it's interesting because we have this week of creativity and we had World Creativity and Innovation Day yesterday. And now we're going into like sort of not that. So how do we continue to sustain this energy we have around creativity? And what did you learn this week? Let's start there.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I'm not like a new little puppy. I've been around for a while, and my job is to be creative. I have to write. I get to write and make up stories and songs and art. And so creativity is definitely part of my DNA fiber. That said, I feel like, well, having met you back when we met, I've learned a lot of new things and techniques that I think maybe I had some of these techniques intuitively, but I think these have been somehow more solidified. And this week, there were some new techniques. I mean, yesterday's where you and I had done a portable think tank before, which I think has been really helpful. But yesterday, somehow there was more depth in our workshop with John and working with ET and seeing a problem, kind of rewiring the circuits of the brain. That whole concept of when we have problems, we have our set ways of thinking about it and sort of bring in whether it's ET or Bugs Bunny or whomever you bring in, but to see it through someone else's eyes totally opened up another way to deal with a problem. And yesterday I happened to have picked a problem that it was perfect for. So that is something I will take with me for sure. I also will definitely slow down when it comes to taking ingredients and making things, because I found that just because you have the ingredients doesn't mean to throw them all in the bowl at once, because I felt like Lucille Ball this week. Yeah, it was good. Those are the two that came off the top of my head. So what about you?
So it's interesting that you bring up the ET perspective, because as I was reflecting this morning on all the different challenges, most of them had to do with taking something that wasn't great and taking something that was great and reflecting back and forth on how do we modify our mindset or our heart set. So, with nausea, we talked about, taking the words that we use and shifting our words every day, and how do our words have impact on how we live our lives. And then we had Monica, who was talking about, I believe she talked about the things that we loved and things we didn't love, and how do you merge them. And it's funny because I really don't like laundry, and I have a disastrous laundry room. So I decided after this week, after we had that session with Monica, to actually redo our whole laundry room. And you know what I love?
In terms of the vibe? Well, I already know what you're doing, so.
Oh, you already know what I'm doing. So I'm painting it Hawaii blue because I love Hawaii. Yeah, so our whole laundry room is going to have a Hawaiian theme to it. So when you walk in, you're going to feel like you're in a laundry room in Hawaii.
And I still think you could, I know they have motion detectors for lights, but there's got to be a way to have that same thing trigger some like Hawaiian music or overlaying with ocean sounds. I think that would really be the perfect finishing touch for that space.
Yeah. So I think that was really interesting in terms of, thinking about the things that I don't like to do in the day and thinking about how I might bring in or make it more joyful space, or might make it a more joyful experience. So that really came into play. I thought it was fun playing with Rhonda when she had us creating your worst birthday party. And, that also played into my son's birthday is today, Earth Day. And so I was thinking
a lot about planning him the worst party.
Yes, we're planning him the worst party. He said his worst birthday party would be full of squirrels because he doesn't like squirrels. He's scared of squirrels. So he said, I definitely, wouldn't want squirrels. So it got me thinking in different ways about how we might structure his day. When we had Yesham and we were creating with our hands, I thought that was fun and playful and a different way to sort of take a break or an excursion. Alessia, obviously, we laughed a lot in that session. And I think we could have created our own sitcom around that particular episode of you not following the directions.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then with John yesterday, in terms of thinking like ET, so much of it was about shifting our perspective. And I think in creativity, we often talk about the divergence of ideas, or we talk about original ideas, but we don't spend a lot of time talking about how creativity is really about shifting our perspective and looking from the perspective of other things. And I think especially right now in 2021, when there's the political divide and so many things happening in our world where we really need to find compassion and empathy, we really need that skill of looking at things from multiple perspectives, or we just can't have those rich conversations that we really need.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the concept that we have, however old we are, our patterns of working and thinking, our thought processes, and usually it's sort of like I'm getting this vision of like a road that you keep traveling on, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's the trench that you travel in. And this was basically saying, put your hands out, make some new tracks, and think
Right.
over there and see what it's like to. And I think we get, just think about people who you have arguments with, that you're repeating the same argument with over and over and over again, and you really just stay over here. And to be able to do this, this all the stuff that we learned this week would really help. And I think the trick is to remember, because I feel like we're so set to just the knee-jerk reaction is the way we always think. And
Right.
because as soon as we finished our session where it was combining what we liked and what we didn't like, I had to go back to my taxes. And I did remember after a while of hating doing it that I thought what might help it would be to put some music on. And I did put music on, and it helped a lot. The other thing I liked was that you and I both decided, we didn't decide, we talked about how we don't like doing paperwork. And the idea that maybe we put on FaceTime or Zoom while we're doing it, and have a buddy who's we're commiserating with and maybe even laughing while we're trying to do our stuff, I think would help. Because otherwise we're just going back to our patterns of not liking what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been a great week, and we have really enjoyed having all of you who have watched. If you've missed the videos, you can find most of them on our Facebook page. But please go to our YouTube station, Createtubeity, and subscribe and click on the link and like it, and go to all the creative thinking challenges and try them out. Barney?
Absolutely. And look at for all of those who were watching and all of those who weren't watching, I'm hoping you pass these along. I'm telling you that for me, who lives a very creative life, I get something out of each and every one of these. So I think there's a lot to play with here. And thanks for paying attention to us, and try some of these yourself.
Thanks so much.
All right.
And don't forget, World Creativity Innovation Week was great, but you can continue to be creative throughout the year.